Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Covenant Sunday for November. Firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm Karen. I'm from Melbourne. I'm currently in the Mothers Branch. I have known Schoenstatt. I've been blessed to have known Schoenstatt for a very large part of my life as a child in my country of origin, South Africa. I was part of the family branch with my parents. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and more recently I gained the wonderful title of being a grandmother. My identity within my family of origin, my extended family growing up, and right now my immediate family has always been such an important part of who I am. Today I've been given the task to discuss with you and share around the topic of the domestic church and Advent customs. As we are fast approaching the holy season of Christmas, I wish to explore this topic from the perspective of the family, the domestic church. This year is slightly different. We've had some real difficult times with the pandemic. So we prepare for Christmas each year and we look forward to the wonderful celebration of Christmas where we join with family and loved ones, sharing gifts, sharing food. So much goes into preparing for this event. When we go to the shops, we see much advertising, we see decorations, sales, advertising of all sorts, advertising of toys, gifts, Christmas fair in terms of food. There's so much hype and excitement going on. Now more than ever, after the difficulties created by the pandemic and the isolation and restrictions imposed, and the impact of this isolation on our relationships. My focus today is to take a step back from the material side of preparing for Christmas and ask a few questions. How will we prepare our hearts this year? How will we share this preparation of our hearts with our families? How will we share this preparation from our homes and our home shrines, and in view of our topic of the conference, evangelization? How can I spread the true message of Christmas within my status in life to my family, my friends, and to those who visit my home as an authentic witness to holiness? As an introduction to this topic, I would like us to look at what it means to have a tradition. What is a tradition? From the Oxford Dictionary, it's described as an oral transmission of knowledge or belief from one generation to another, the body of such knowledge, tale or belief or custom so transmitted, any of or all of the doctrines of a religion that are held by divine authority, but not set down in the regular scriptures, that which has been prevailed or accepted from one generation to another. So, what traditions do we have around Advent? Some of the traditions that come to mind in Australia are perhaps carols by candlelight, purchases to prepare for Christmas lunch, for instance, an exchange of gifts, hanging Christmas wreath on the front door, Christmas carol singing, perhaps, Christmas baking, decorating the home with a Christmas tree, Christmas light decorations outside the home, the Advent calendar. Some other traditions of different nationalities may include, perhaps here in Italy, no meat is eaten on Christmas Eve. One Greek tradition during Advent is that Greeks will hang little wooden crosses with sprigs of basil from wires over shallow bowls of water in their homes. Keeping the water and basil fresh, they will sprinkle the holy water through the house at least once a day to protect their homes from evil spirits. Some German traditions may be Christmas markets or the Advent wreath. Spanish may have shelter seeking. Some religious traditions around Advent. Perhaps we attend special church services, nativity plays, shelter seeking, the Advent calendar, carol singing, Advent preparation, and the Advent wreath. From this list, we see that many traditions are in place around Christmas. They may be general traditions, they may be our own cultural traditions around Christmas or our own family traditions. And we pass on these traditions from one generation to the other. Today, I wish to invite you to create another tradition within your home, from your home shrine. The practice of Advent, shelter seeking, and prayers in preparation for Christmas may already be your tradition and something very familiar to you and to your family. However, I invite you to look at this tradition from the following perspective: Advent and the domestic church, Advent and evangelization, creating a religious milieu from my home shrine, creating tradition from my home shrine, bringing Christ back into Christmas from my home shrine and for my family and others that I may encounter. Advent and the domestic church. I take the opportunity now to remind you of the thread and topics that we explored over the last year by our presenters each Covenant Sunday within our movement, and for the rich learnings we all shared following these themes and messages. They were around the domestic church in all aspects of family life, and they included in January the family, the church in miniature. In February, the home shrine. In March, we had the mission of the church through priest, prophet, and king. In April, the family as educators within the domestic church. In May, domestic church in education and religious support. In June, prayer life and the domestic church. In July, we heard about the church and believing and evangelizing. In August, Mary's qualities. In September, Mary's mission. Last month, the covenant of love and the home shrine. During our October conference, we explored what it means to evangelize and our mission from the shrine and as members of Schoenstatt in evangelizing. We arrived at our motto, Schoenstatt Way, authentic witness to holiness. I wish to ask each of you how you have lived this mission in a practical and conscious way since this conference and when the motto was formulated. Well, if you have not started as yet, Advent presents one opportunity. Advent starts on Sunday the 28th of November this year. So today, I wish to invite you to take this motto into Advent and Christmas and explore, how am I going to live out this motto during Advent and Christmas 2021, from within my home and home shrine and within my family. Therefore, today's topic is a continuation of this trend and topic, and I invite you to consider how we can further this topic by creating tradition that puts Christ back at the center of our celebrations and our preparations. Traditions that are lasting and gets handed down from one generation to the next. Tradition that expands our evangelization from our homes. Tradition that highlights the domestic church and the part we each play in bringing the message or this message to those around us. This is what we are trying to achieve. But how? We explored various ways over the past year, but one example of a very practical and beautiful tradition, which I wish to talk about today, is the Advent wreath. By incorporating the Advent wreath into our homes and the prayers that go with this each week, we are encouraging our families and our loved ones to focus on Christ in Christmas once again. In each of our state in life, we can create tradition and a religious atmosphere during Advent by creating interest for those who visit our homes, but more specifically for our family members. As many of us are grandparents, we may pass on this special tradition to our grandchildren when they visit. In my home, for instance, my granddaughter last year, she was 5 in 2020. She was particularly curious about the Advent wreath and enjoyed coming to pray with me, especially each week, and lighting a different candle. She took particular interest in being part of this journey and the meaning of each candle each week, and offering prayers for the different family members in a most spontaneous way, which I found so uplifting. So for those who don't know, what is the Advent wreath all about? I have mine just on the side here. The Advent wreath, which has its origin from the German tradition, is a beautiful way of preparing for Christmas within the home, with family or individually, during the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. It is a beautiful visual display in our homes and in our home shrines, celebrating the liturgical season and reminding all who see it of the religious meaning of Christmas. The candles are traditionally 3 purple candles and 1 rose-colored candle for the 3rd week of Advent. A 5th white candle may be added, representing Christ at Christmas. The Advent wreath and the candles in our homes and home shrines provide beautiful symbolism for each week of Advent as we await the birth of Jesus at Christmas. It is a great way to involve the whole family and creates curiosity amongst children and grandchildren alike, or anyone visiting our home. Advent candles shine brightly in the midst of darkness, reminding us that Jesus came as light into our dark world. The candles are set in a circular Advent wreath of greenery, and a new candle is lit on each of the 4 Sundays of Advent, where each candle represents something different. The 1st, 2nd, and 4th candles are purple, with the 3rd one being a rose color. And I have them just there. I'm not sure if you can see that in the picture. The 1st candle represents hope and is called the prophet's candle. The prophets of the Old Testament, especially Isaiah, waited in hope of the Messiah. The purple color symbolizes royalty, repentance, and fasting. The 2nd candle represents faith and is called Bethlehem's candle. Micah had foretold that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem, which is also the birthplace of King David. The second candle is also purple, to symbolize preparation for the coming king. The third candle symbolizes joy, the pink one, and is called the shepherd's candle. To the shepherds, great joy. The angels announced that Jesus came to humble, unimportant people like them too. In liturgy, the color rose signifies joy. This candle is colored pink to represent joyfulness and rejoicing. The fourth candle represents peace and is called the angel's candle. The angels announced that Jesus came to bring peace. He came to bring peace to people close to God and to each other, and peace to each other again. This color is also purple to represent the culmination of love through the Messiah. The optional fifth candle represents light and purity and is called Christ's candle. It is placed in the middle and it is lit on Christmas Day. This candle is white to represent pure light and victory. For instance, I don't have the white candle in my Advent wreath right now, but the white candle traditionally in my family, we place the white candle on the table on Christmas Day and light it as we say our prayers, grace before our Christmas lunch. So I have included in the text the prayers that will accompany the Advent wreath. So prayers that you can pray together with your family or individually each week. I have also attached other prayers and celebrations like this, the discussion on shelter seeking, which some people may be using. As I said before, there are various traditions, but I just wanted to use this today, the Advent wreath, as an example. Family members can also pray and be represented and choose a symbol in the crib, so that they can have a topic of striving towards preparing for Christmas. For instance, somebody may choose to be a donkey that carries Mary and Jesus. Another could be a crib that will hold Jesus. Others might be a light, a shining light, etc. Again, the Advent wreath is a practical display of our faith and hope and wishes for Christmas, and a tradition that all may participate in. Many of you most probably already have this tradition in your families, and it is not a new one to you. However, I invite you today to look at this tradition, as mentioned before, from the perspective of our learnings over the last year and the mission which we decided upon in October when we formulated our new motto for the year. Again, how far have we come thus far in living out this new motto? In summary then, the home shrine is therefore the center place of the domestic church, where we create a religious atmosphere and religious traditions, a place of evangelization within the family. So I now invite you, I thank you for listening and reflecting on this topic, and I now invite you to consider the questions that I've attached at the end of the text. Thank you.